Hello Plant ID students, this is Mary Linneberry, your TA for the course. This week I'll be talking with you about your homework assignment, but before that I'm going to give myself a little bit more of an introduction. So I'm a fourth year PhD student here at Colorado State in Melinda Smith's lab, where we study plant grassland community ecology. Basically, we're interested in how grassland plant communities are changing and how they might change in the future as their greater environment becomes more and more altered. Please know you can email me at any time throughout the semester if you have questions, if you have concerns. My email can be found on the syllabus, and you can find out more about me on the Canvas page, the Start Here link. Truly, any questions or concerns, I want you to know you can use me as a resource. Now let's talk about a little bit about this plant. So this is what you are going to be doing for your homework assignment this week. You will go and find some plants and then describe them using the terms you've learned in the lectures for this week. This plant here, I clipped from right behind me. That is my mother's wildflower garden because I scheduled in one last trip home before the semester started. Don't tell her I did this. She might not be happy. So looking at this plant, I'm going to tell you off the bat, it is something called an herbaceous plant, in that there is no woody tissue on this above ground section. So it is herbaceous. I'm going to take a leaf. We have a lot of terms to describe the leaves, so I'm going to be spending a lot of time talking about these. So here we go. First off, I'm going to describe the overall leaf shape. This is something called lancelet. It is lance-shaped, as you can imagine. That's where that term came from. It's long and it's pointed at the tip. Now let's talk about these leaf margins, essentially the outside pattern of this leaf. This is, now it's probably hard to tell from your view, but I need you to trust me, this leaf has very slight teethed edges. So this would be a serrate leaf. And because of those little teeth. I just want to point out though that leaves closer to the top of the plant don't have those little teeth on their leaf margins. Sometimes plants do that. It's just good to know that there are differences commonly between the basal leaves that occur more towards the base of the plant and those that occur more towards the top. Now let's talk about the leaf texture. And once again, this is something I know you can't see, but trust me, there are in fact little hairs on the abaxial side of this leaf, which is the back. There are those little hairs, especially among this midrib. And that midrib is this main vein that travels the distance of the leaf. So I'm going to call the abaxial side of this pubescent. Now on the front, it might look a little bit smooth, but if you were here in person, you would see that it was a rough leaf. Not sandpaper, but it's noticeably rough. Let's now talk about this leaf's petiole. Now the petiole is this little structure at the base of this leaf, which connects the leaf to the stem. Now this petiole is very reduced. It's teeny tiny. If it were any smaller, I would consider it sessile, aka that this plant didn't have petioles. But it is there, so I'm going to say it's a reduced petiole. And while I'm here, I want to show you the leaf arrangement. So on this stem, these leaves are considered alternating. And that is because the way that they are growing out of the stem alternates from one side of the stem to the other. Another very common organization pattern is opposite, and that's when the leaves grow out of the stem right across from one another. We don't have that here. These leaves are alternating. In terms of the veins on this leaf, For the most part, they are parallel. Oops, drop that leaf. Let's get another. Uh-oh, destroyed that leaf. For the most part, these veins are parallel to the midrib, but it's worth noting that there are two main veins that occur near the base of the leaf, and they come off from this midrib. Just worth noting. And so now, with all those little details and some more that we'll learn along the way in this class, you could key this plant out, and if you did it correctly, you would discover that it is something called Solidago canadensis, or Canadian goldenrod. You can find this all over. I know that I frequently encounter this species in my tall grass prairie, which is a very wet grassland with a lot of growth. I find this thing all over. And now we'll learn to key things out later on in the semester, but I hope this little video helped you to understand how you might use some of these terms to describe any plants you find. Remember, any questions, concern, send me an email, and have a good week.